focusing on life here in and around Whitley County. You're listening to Mondays with the Mayor on WJHS 91.5. Now, Mondays with the Mayor.
WJHS 91.5. It is Mondays with the Mayor. I always start off great, Glass laughs, and then I introduce the mayor. There it is, starting off strong, starting off good.
It's a tension release because I'm like, what? You're counting down to yourself. You have a routine. And
Yes.
I get to see, you're talking that way and you're looking at, that screen. So I see the back of your head. And
There's nothing wrong with the back of my head.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just,
and all of a
have to
sudden,
chuckle
an
a little bit.
explosion of excitement and energy coming from the board.
It's that calm before the storm is
That's
what
right.
it is. So it's not directed at anyone. It's just kind of humorous that it's happening. And you said the same thing. Mr. Glaza laughs. I introduce us, and then the mayor speaks.
There we go.
And this is Mondays with the Mayor on WJHS.
It
Of
is.
course,
Glaza, what day is it? Put you on the spot here.
Monday, the third Monday of the month,
Yes.
is when Mondays with the Mayor, for fear of confusing all of our audience. Today, we want to talk about everything that's happening, some cool awards getting in here at Columbia City High School for our staff. I saw some interesting things happening.
Yeah.
People in costume downtown. Of course, we're looking for an update on what's happening to the internet. There's Project 1A that's going
1A.
in for Eagle Park that the mayor wants to update us on. There's Walk of Trees. There's all kinds of holiday stuff going in and around the community. And that's what we're here to talk about today with our beloved mayor, Mr. Ryan Daniel,
Hello.
the voice you hear right there.
Hello, everybody.
Where do we want to start? Do we want to talk about the incident where I was pulling up to a stoplight
Sure.
at downtown the other day, and I looked over,
Yeah.
and there's a man pontificating. He was full bearded regalia. He looked
Yes.
like he was a Nazarite, or I can't really
Sure.
tell them apart.
And
And then there was camels.
llamas. There was a llama, and there were a bunch of, I think, goats and sheep in that area, and
Live action.
Yes,
It
and
was-
a donkey or a burro of some
Right,
sort
right.
there. Yeah.
I went out and I grabbed, downtown patronage of Tokyo Steakhouse. Woot
Yes.
woot. And I got on right. It was like an event. It was
It
a
is.
thing. What was happening?
Yeah, so that's our community Christmas that happens every year. It is completely ran by kind of a group of churches, if you will, in our community, and they have a live nativity on the courthouse square. Have for as far back as I can remember. But the really neat thing about that, obviously you have live animals and you have live actors and all that kind of stuff. It's a kind of a journey, if you will, journey to Bethlehem, I think is what they kind of say. But they also have Christmas music happening inside the courthouse, and cookies and punch are in there, and so it gets you so much in the Christmas spirit because
It was nice. It was
of all of
unexpected.
it.
It scared me, to be honest, when I first looked over and there's a man with a beard
Yes.
and wearing the traditional Middle Eastern, I
Yes.
guess you could say,
Yes.
attire.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was. Then I got out and I enjoyed the open air Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
I guess you could say it was really nice.
and
it was really nice.
it really was a beautiful. So we went on Friday. It was just a beautiful night, and just right around the corner was the Walk of Trees at
Right.
the Clugston. There's just so many things happening in downtown, and it warms my heart not only for the Christmas spirit. That I'm a big Christmas fan myself, but overall the fact that there's so much going on in downtown Columbia City, and the active and engaged populace that we have, the citizens that are out there. It just was a great weekend.
I liked it because it was kind of I didn't go through it myself,
Sure.
but on my way to grabbing dinner, there was kind of it was an intimate experience where you could like do different stations, different stops along the way is what it
Yes.
looked like. And so perhaps it would be fun to take a walk through that. Speaking of Clugston's, 27 trees decorated this year, multiple locations, businesses, organizations.
Yes.
I thought that was fun to see. Some of the photographs are beautiful.
Oh, absolutely.
Haven't
Gorgeous.
gone through on them, but I wanted to say thank you to Columbia City Connect and a quick shout out. We've mentioned this before, but Columbia City Connect helps put on that helps put on the Walk of Trees, but they're also hosting the downtown walking tour.
Yeah.
That's still coming together.
Yes.
It's going to be an audio tour voiced by Columbia City High School students.
Yeah.
Which I
Hello.
thought was really fun. And have you heard anything on that? Because
Yes.
I've been told like it's about time, and so I might be dropping the ball here and bringing it up too soon, and we totally didn't talk about this ahead of time.
No, that's okay. No, I will say that we have, I don't know details. I know about the project. I know the support that the project has gotten around downtown. I think it's a really neat connection, both with both with students here at Columbia City High School, as well as kind of the history of our downtown and Columbia City Connect. It's a fabulous downtown organization, but yes, I've heard about it. I don't know timeline though.
Okay, so I've had the pleasure of seeing some of the scripts. Have you ever heard the Columbia City story? Yes, they've made buggies here. There was a big fire.
Yes.
That took out the buggy.
Mm-hmm.
It was a warehouse, essentially, kind of taking over a large chunk of the downtown area.
Yes.
And then they rebuilt so much of it. They didn't rebuild the warehouse.
Sure.
But there's also, I didn't know this, that there was a shootout, Columbia City.
Yes.
Where an officer was shot in the face.
I have heard that story.
Survived.
Yes.
Kept the bullet.
I didn't know that part.
Kept the bullet.
Okay.
Kept the bullet.
Yeah.
They didn't remove it from his face.
Okay.
But was then going, and I believe it happened at Richards, where the man had a coughing fit after he'd retired and got the bullet back. Let's just say it that way.
Wow.
That's just one of the stories
that
of
is
like
impressive.
The buildings and stuff like that. And it used to be like the bullet holes that were left in the building, they didn't repair for a little while. Which like there's some photographs out there and stuff like that. But that's just one story of like all kinds of stories. Each of the buildings, you know, they've been anything from grocery stores to restaurants to and I never thought about that going back to like black and white days.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at downtowns, and this is not just for Columbia City, for all small community downtowns throughout the state and probably even the country, it's really interesting to go back and see that history, because you're right. The downtowns, as time has gone on, has continued to evolve and change. And so you used to have your pharmacies and your grocery stores and your hardware stores that really were in the downtown area. Much of those obviously have moved out to where the traffic is, right? And so then moved in some of the services. There was already services there, but some additional services, some small mom and pop shops, some restaurants. So just a lot of change. But yes, downtown has an enormous and unique history that goes back to really the founding of Columbia City way back in the day.
And it kind of makes you want to know more, right?
Absolutely.
The good news is...
Tell me how I can find out more.
How can we find out more? That the tour, a couple of students here for their senior project, this goes all the way back to last year for our graduating class. They started recording scriptings of doing... You can literally play the app on your phone, listen either in the open air, grab some earbuds, headphones of any sort, and literally walk to these different locations around town and learn as you're walking around the building what happened and when, little stories, how this used to be. I didn't know Columbia City was like the buggy capital of Indiana for a while.
I did not know that either until you just told me.
Just because
apparently I need to get this history tour.
Thing.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you this because I figure people in the know want to know. Is it true that Columbia City has tunnels under it?
It is true that Columbia City used to have coal chutes and or steam tunnels throughout the area. It is also true that we had many different cisterns throughout the downtown. There is not, I believe, that I know of, there is no specific walking tunnel underneath, but there are coal chutes and steam tunnels throughout, kind of in the bowels of underneath downtown Columbia City.
Okay, because I have a shovel.
Yeah.
And you're going, are you busy after this?
I can make time.
Okay,
I definitely can make time.
I have two shovels. That's convenient. It is very curious to like learn about interesting things. And if you because I know when I was driving through downtown, I'm pretty sure they patched them, but I'm still looking for those bullet holes.
Oh, yeah.
I was still looking for like the old, the old signage up on top that's actually into the building rather than what's out front. And it is kind of fun to see and to hear. So I'm looking forward to more about that.
Yeah.
And Columbia City Connect. Cool organization to work with, and it's on the way. Okay, plenty really to talk about.
Well, hey, so I wanted to ask you. You had teased this at the beginning, and we talked about it just a little bit before the show started. But tell me more about the award. You were telling us that there's a teacher that won some that's in the finals for a pretty prestigious award.
Yeah, this is kind of fun. So he's actually been in the studio a couple of times. A friend of mine, co-teacher. There's a local award, Educator in Action. Local teacher being awarded. This is kind of fun. Ryan Trishman, who you might know is a social studies teacher here at the High School of Columbia City, was selected as one of 5 finalists for the Terry Fear Holocaust Education Award in Action. Action Award, excuse me.
Wow.
This is a recognition, just to read from their webpage here. It's a new recognition created this year And it was presented by Candles, the Holocaust Museum and Education Center to, quote, seek and identify, support, and celebrate educators who live and teach in a way that honors the life of in and around Terry Fear. So I kind of an interesting last name there for the situation, but I like to give credit where credit is due. I've met Trishman. He's serious about how he plans out his classes, and we've had a couple of conversations behind the scenes. He's intentional as a coach, and I kind of see him as a teacher coach at the same time.
Sure.
So he's been in the studio to talk track. You might remember that interview at another day. He's expanding, getting state winners and stuff like that in that area, which is how mostly I've interacted with him in this studio. But I like to just give praise where praise is due and recognition where that is. It's kind of fun.
That's so neat, and congratulations to him. Even being named as a finalist, I think that's a really impactful thing. I'll tell you, when I was in college, I took an actual class on the Holocaust. I actually have some Jewish background, and so I took a class on the Holocaust in and of itself, and we think so much about the impact on that specific group of people, and yet there was such a ripple effect across the globe, specifically because of that event. And not to dive too deep into it, but I think it's such a great thing to learn about, because again, if we don't learn from our history, we're bound to repeat it, right? So we have to learn about our history and what those people groups went through. So I think that's really neat. Congratulations to him on being named a finalist, and hopefully he will be the singular winner. Yeah, that's awesome.
So right now you're listening to WJHS's Monday with the Mayor. If you were just joining in, we're about not only halfway through getting there. We've talked about the community Christmas style festival. Yeah. We've also talked about Columbia City Connect doing a walking tour of Columbia City. One of the stories is a cop was hit in the face by a live ammunition round, and then
a while ago,
a
long while ago,
doctor never removed it, and then coughed it up years later. And then we just finished up talking about Ryan Tristman being rewarded an Education Through Action award. So that's pretty cool.
He's keeping us on task.
He's writing notes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
On to the next topic.
Cool little device you got there. Cool
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, so I think it's probably a good time to talk a little bit about some of the projects we're working on right now, and around the city. Obviously, as you get toward the end of the year, people are fully and fully focused on Christmas and a lot of projects, because the weather starts to change. A lot of projects start to kind of go by the wayside, or at least pause for the Christmas season. But I'm excited. I forgot to mention this before the show, but really excited. We were just awarded $600 and I think $13,000 grant toward paving for next year. So we'll have about an $800,000 paving project across the city. Multiple, I think there's maybe 10 different streets we're going to be paving next year.
That's
so a $600,000 grant from our friends at the Indiana Department of Transportation. Appreciate that. Just announced I guess a couple weeks ago. And so we're excited about that next year's worth of paving. Typically we have somewhere around $150,000 to $300,000 in paving dollars set aside in our budget. So when you get a matching grant of $75,25, and you can now make that money $800,000 worth of paving. So
Columbia City's going to be looking fresh.
So
that new black top.
So that's right. And asphalt. The smell of asphalt is the smell of money, but it's also the smell of progress. And so that's a good thing. So have that. We'll have those that paving happening next year. We're getting ready to do a downtown plan, which is really exciting. We've kind of narrowed down to the companies, some different companies, and trying to decide who we want to go with to kind of help us with that plan for the future of our downtown, what it's going to look like, what kind of infrastructure is going to be there, what kind of amenities we want to have in our downtown. We're also doing some additional infrastructure planning for our sewer and our water and our stormwater. And so there's a lot of things happening. Even though we're at the end of the year, we are definitely planning for the future and for next year.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest projects that we're, I guess, finalizing and doing the engineering on, finishing the engineering on, is the Phase 1A of Eagle Park.
Eagle Park.
Which is,
the old high school
Old
location,
high school property. Yep.
Which is a beautiful location. And
yes,
you start going out there and you start realizing there's a lot that could be done. Do I know all those details? No. But, and you, as you've said, it's a generational project because it's a number of acres and has the potential to just to put a fence around it would be a huge
Yes.
project.
Yeah.
Where are we? You said phase 1A.
1A. Yep.
1A. So
Yes.
there's a 2A, there's a 3A, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I mean, we've kind of tried to segment these pieces because to really help the community understand that Rome wasn't built in a day. I've said from the beginning, you've heard me say it lots of different times, this is a generational project because it will take a generation to build out all of the ideas the community had for this park. As you may remember, in 2020, we actually did the planning for this. We had actually 19 into 20. We had different planning sessions. And so we took that plan, we took those ideas, create a plan out of it. So in the first phase here, phase 1A, we are going to be building a new skate park, which will be an in-ground concrete skate park. So
nice skate park.
Yes, it'll be a very nice skate park. There's an area where it drops off 6 foot, and these are lots of really cool things as a part of that. Obviously, anytime you build something in ground, you got to have drainage included. Yep. You got to have the infrastructure around it. So that's a part of it. We'll be building 4 new pickleball courts that will run north-south.
Hey.
So when the sun goes, it will always be in the middle and not be at one end of the court or the other, which is our issue with our current pickleball courts.
You ever played pickleball?
I have. Not,
it's a hard game.
Not
Jeez
well
Louise.
and not competitively, but I have played it before. Yes, it is. But you know what's so cool about pickleball is the fact that the individuals that typically use our pickleball courts are over the age of 55. And so, I think it's so neat that we're able to touch just a whole nother group of our citizens, an age group that maybe isn't always built for, if you will, but it really does keep them active and engaged. We have a group of people that are just dedicated to the sport of pickleball. And so that's
way to
exciting.
super serve. That's good. That's good.
Yes.
Okay. So that's 1A.
Yes.
And that goes through 2023 summer?
So our hope is that it'll all be constructed by October of 23 of next year, October of next year. And one other thing I want to mention about the actual construction of it. So if you drive to the corner of North and Whitley there, it's right at the corner of the old high school property, if you will. So if you look straight ahead, that drive it goes back toward the old football field, if you will. So right along that drive is where the skate park's going to be. And then if you go along Whitley Street there, we're going to have it's basically a bench swing. But what we're kind of our idea is you have the skate park area, but next to it is going to be this bench with swings, and we're going to kind of create a musical area because that bench with swings, it's basically a pergola with swings. But anyway, so that area will actually overlook. Will actually overlook where our new amphitheater will be. Once that's the next phase, the 2A, if you will.
2A.
That's the next phase that we'll be building is a new amphitheater, and so we're kind of building for the future, preparing for the future.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm so super excited about that. And all of those components that are going to be putting in, it's about give or take a $1.3 million project. So it's not cheap by any means, but it is neat because the current skate park that we have at Morses Park is metal, which means it's very loud. And it's nowhere near as advanced and as built out, if you will, as this new place.
And it gets used well. There's
absolutely
a drive for it. And
I don't think the public has as good of an understanding of how much the skate park is used,
right.
Because it's kind of tucked back in the corner of Morses Park.
Correct.
So, but a lot of people use it, and it's not just from people from Columbia City; it's people from around the area that also do come to our skate park.
That is fun, and that's a place where they can be social, they can gather,
absolutely,
and to expand and super serve those purposes. I think that's great to have a couple of options as well. The amphitheater, Now, can we pause on the amphitheater a little bit? We're still going. I haven't looked at plans in a little while, but if you want to see plans, if you want to check out the generational project, 1A, 2A, 3A,
ColumbiaCity.net.
ColumbiaCity.net.
It's right on the front page. Yep.
So there's the skate park, and then next to that, you said near the drive that used to go back to the football field would be where the skate park is.
Yep.
About how far away from what is that, Whitley East?
Whitley and North intersect there.
Is it closer to the baseball fields back, or is it near the road?
It's fairly near the road. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then from there, there's the musical pergola.
Yes.
Roughly.
Yes. That's a great way of I must start calling it the musical pergola.
It's kind of it doesn't necessarily have to have music playing at it. From there, would that be down Whitley Street?
Down Whitley Street. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So think about what's going to be okay. So this is a little Easter egg thing, if you know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm a big Disney guy, and they always have these little Easter eggs all along the place, right? Little Mickeys, hidden Mickeys, things like that. But what's so neat about this project, and what I think is just kind of a confluence of lots of things, is where the amphitheater is going to be located. Okay, is the site of the former band room and choir room.
Okay.
So the musical connection, there you go. So there's the kind of that's our musical segment, if you will, of that property. And so I think it's so neat that we're able, that when we build that next phase, whenever that ends up being, that it will be on that site. So that gives you some visual as to where that's going to be. But
felt like good ground for it.
Music for music, right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, music for music, which I think is really a neat thing.
Let me ask you this. So the amphitheater, we say amphitheater. It's not quite a traditional amphitheater.
Right. An outdoor amphitheater.
It's not a coliseum where people are staring down and in.
There will be,
it's a different, could you kind of roughly shape that into our heads? Because I like the two parts and I don't want to ruin it.
Imagine it to be, so the way in which we're trying to, I guess, envision it is that it really will be able to accommodate two different groups of people. Mm-hmm. On the side that is going to be facing Whitley Street, it will be for smaller concerts, if you will,
facing the road.
Yeah, facing the road. So
more
smaller concert. Yeah. So it'll be a smaller opening, if you will, to a structure of some sort that will be able to accommodate the local choirs, or maybe a band contest or things like that. Like the smaller, intimate type setting, and it will have. The land will have and actually does have kind of a slight grade that goes down toward it.
So a nice little half bowl, but not huge.
Not huge, but enough that area. So, but here's the cool thing
100 people?
I think it'll be able to accommodate 100 people. So then, but the cool thing is on the opposite side. So let's say the side that's kind of facing the football field. Okay.
So the crowd is facing the football field.
The street side, yes, but if we flip to the other side,
I get it. Okay, so it is a bowl.
People will be be at the football field, effectively looking toward the stage. That will be a much larger stage that will be able to accommodate potentially. Again, I'm just going to say potentially national acts. Okay. And so the nice thing will be is there will be some grass area there that people can be in, but even we'll have the football field that will be behind it. So there'll be even more space for crowds and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a really cool multi-use type facility, which everything we do is trying to think through how do we use this for multiple purposes. So the skate park is not only for skating, but it could be for that's a different place, but yes, pickleball, but the roller skating place, you're looking at bikes that can use that. Again, pickleball courts, we can put the hopefully the ice skating rink on top of the new pickleball courts and use the other area for some. There's just a lot of multiple usages of the same area. So it's really cool.
Amphitheater
really
has
cool,
the large and the small.
Yes,
the potential for speakers. I think you keep sending nasty emails to the Eagles and they're not responding or something like that. I can't remember what the rumor was that joking.
To be clear, the musical group, the Eagles, not any local Eagles that are here, just to be very clear.
The Eagles, yes.
No, I keep saying this and I kind of joke about this, although I'm maybe 10% serious, and that's that I would love to host Journey in Columbia City.
Journey.
So one of these days, maybe.
And the Eagles.
That's fine.
Dual headliners.
Yeah, that's right. I like it. Different generations, but still
right.
Draws a crowd.
That'll be very good. I am excited, and I thought that was very well planned, because if you have a smaller act and you have 40,000 seats, okay, it's still a good show, but it feels not quite the same. Could you imagine in the smaller amphitheater or in the larger one potentially being used for public gatherings such as a wedding?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a part of and that is a part of what we've kind of planned for, of what the future looks like. If again, multiple use opportunities is the name of the game with this park.
I think that's fun. What is 3A? Just to wet our whistle with that.
I don't know that we've exactly decided what 3A is, but I would say so. So 1A we're doing. 1B, I would say, is the amphitheater. 1C, if I'm guessing, is the athletic fields. Maybe the actual indoor athletic facility. That's a very expensive price tag. But
okay.
And here's a tease for you. In upcoming shows, we will talk a little bit more about
Right next to Journey.
We will talk
you mean
more
our
about
show.
Yes, our show. We'll talk a little bit more about financing those types of pieces, but we'll talk about that in a future show.
I'm looking
So
forward to that.
with that wraps it up talking about future
You cut us
shows.
short.
I
That's
didn't
so
cut you
sad.
short. We're actually over time.
Okay.
Almost anyways. So basically, WJHS, this is Mondays with the Mayor. If you're just tuning in, I got some bad news. You missed it, but I will wrap it up for you nicely. So we do have, we did talk about the community style Christmas festivals. Can you elaborate on that just a little bit for us?
Yeah, so the Living Nativity down, that's what you're talking about. The Living
Yes.
Nativity, yeah, is a great thing for downtown. But yeah, we had that a couple weeks ago. Really exciting. Live animals, live people, really cool stuff.
We also had the Columbia City Connect is what we talked about. We talked about the walking tours that will be voiced by Columbia City High School students. Just one of the
Historic
stories that will
walking
keep
tours.
you on is I just talked about it a little bit ago. As one of the stories was an officer of the law. This is a very long time ago, by the way. Was hit by a live ammunition round in the head. Doctors never removed it, and then many years later, he coughed it up at A. Richards, the bullet. So that's a pretty cool story. I don't believe that we mentioned where you can find out more about that project. Is there a place?
Columbia City Connect.
Columbia City Connect.
Yes.
There we go. We also talked about Ryan Trishman. He's been awarded an award called Education Through Action. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Sure. It's for teaching about Holocaust survivorship and getting into, he's a social studies teacher, so he's being recognized for his work as a teacher, as well as encouraging knowledge to go to the next generation.
Yeah. So also, weird way to segment this. Columbia City also got a $600,000 grant
Yep.
to total up $800 funds to go towards a pavement
For
project.
paving for next year, yeah, for 2023.
Is there going to be any old pavement?
Oh, yes. Oh, there's
Okay.
always old pavement.
Okay.
Also, we talked about very slightly new projects like the sewer. What were some other ones that you mentioned?
Yeah, so we have sewer study, water study in some different areas, but also obviously our downtown plan, which I'm really excited about. That really should start taking off next year, and we'll be able to have some public input sessions that I'm really excited about as well.
And then we also just talked about the Eagle Park project. We are just starting.
Yes, starting phase 1A. Yes, construction will be happening next year in 2023.
And we're looking at a new skate park, 4 new pickleball courts, and to mention that they will be facing north-south. So
Yes,
the sun won't be in your
north-south,
eyes
yes.
ever, and the sun will always be lighting up.
What'd you call it? The musical pergola? Don't forget the musical pergola.
I was getting to that. The musical pergola also. And then we just wrapped up the amphitheater, which can accommodate, it accommodates 2 type of people, right?
Yes,
so you have the
2
first,
groups.
the first side you have with small concerts, for local choirs. And then the other side,
The large concerts for Journey. Or
For
for
Journey.
REO Speedwagon or
for
something.
the hopes
Skid
of
Row, at
national
least.
acts.
Just to be real clear though, that is not included in phase 1A. That is phase 1B, and that will be happening in the future sometime.
And
we
this-
spent all of our budget on one band. All of it.
And
Journey
it
is coming, and that's it.
And it is a national, or not a national project. It is
Not
a
really.
generational project. It is a generational
Yes.
project. So hopes,
Indeed.
Yes. So with that being said, this wraps up WJHS 91.5 Mondays with the Mayor. My name is Jonathan Peters, known as Radio J on the radio. Sitting across from me, the reason we're here, Mayor Ryan Daniel.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays, everybody.
And Mr. Glaza, Mr. Daniel, thank you
Yes.
so much for being here.
Hey, thank you.
WJHS 91.5.
Join us next time, Mondays with the Mayor, here on WJHS 91.5, The Eagle, broadcasting from Columbia City High School. Views and opinions expressed here do not represent WCCS. Search for WJHS on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and more. Write to us your comments and questions to be voiced on the air. WJHS is 91.5, The Eagle.